Hey, ladies, welcome to episode 116. I'm talking all about hunger today and specifically talking about the hunger scale and what happens when we misuse it. Yeah, that can happen. It can happen with the best of intentions. So let's dive right in and make sure that if we are, we stop and find out what to do instead. Welcome to the Health, Life, and More for Women podcast. My name is Jennifer D'Amato, a certified intuitive eating counselor, coach, mom of four, lover of all things pink, and I want you to live your best health and your best life. I believe the way we can all do that is by finally walking away from diet culture, by relearning what your body needs, reconnecting with your body's biological signals, and redefining what health is on your terms. This show will shed some light on sneaky ways diet culture has infiltrated your thoughts, your family, and your well-being. My heart is that no matter the episode, you walk away feeling informed, inspired, and encouraged. Let's go. So when I was a dieter, the thoughts about hunger, thinking about being hungry, feeling like I was always hungry, it always felt overwhelming. I actually hated feeling hungry. If that is relatable, this is a great place for you to be right now because I'll tell you, diets are really, really good at screwing with your body's biology. You know, diets have a beautiful way of taking something that is completely normal, like feeling hungry, and twisting it and messing it all up. And even creating a fear of being hungry or a distaste, if you will, puns all over the place, a distaste for being hungry. I hear this a lot from other women too, where they hate that they have to be hungry. There's so many messages about that. So coming from that place, when I was first exploring intuitive eating, I actually got really excited about this idea of a hunger scale. I am type A. I like things organized. I like a system. And for me, a scale, 1 to 10 was like, ooh, I can do that. I can identify hunger within the constructs of a scale and start identifying, when I'm beginning hungry, getting really hungry or hangry. I know a lot of people don't like that term. It's overused, but that overwhelming hunger because, well, of course, I hadn't eaten. So the idea of a hunger scale was perfect for me until it wasn't, until I completely was misusing the intuitive eating hunger scale. And I want to talk about a couple of ways that it's misused, talk about how I utilize that within my practice. And if you have been struggling at all with hunger or the hunger scale, what you can do. I do think before we dive in, it's important to remember that hunger is biological. Hunger is a natural thing that occurs in your body. It's also very interestingly noted on Maslow's hierarchy of needs as one of the first needs you need met. That when hunger is not met as one of your basic needs, you really can't move on beyond that. I mean, think about that for a minute. I believe what Maslow's theory was saying is true, that, when I'm really hungry, it's hard to focus. It's hard to think about anything else. It's hard to sit and record a podcast, which is why I usually eat something before I sit down and talk. I usually have a snack before I'm on client calls for the day. I can't focus well. I can't give to other people if I'm hungry. So I think Maslow had it right. I've also shared on this podcast a famous study done by Ansel Keys after World War II, the Minnesota starvation study done with men. Again, a study that would never be conducted today. And it really did highlight what happens when food is taken away, when those hunger signals have to be repressed, and what our body does, what our brain does. And again, all of these are reminders that this is a basic need. This is your biology. This is to keep you from starving. This is to give you energy. Your body will go into a famine mode. It will start to binge and overeat if you continually ignore your hunger. So I wanted to make sure I put that out there. And we're talking a lot about that on the podcast lately, but it's such a good reminder, especially if you're listening to this and you are in a place like I was where you start like not enjoying the fact that your body gets hungry, that you start fearing that hunger. So I wanted to talk about a couple of ways that the hunger scale is misused. So the first is from my own personal experience where it starts to become a set of rules, not a guideline, not a way to explore what's going on in your own body, which is what this tool is for, but it became another way for me to have a rule in my life. I could only eat when my hunger was at, a certain number, a 3, a 4, and I had to stop when it got to a 7. If I went beyond a 5 for hunger, I started feeling like I was breaking a rule. I started feeling like I'm not doing this right. And I got so consumed with these values, these numbers. It actually shifted my focus onto these numbers. So I'm not on a diet plan. I'm not following this regimented meal plan that I was on. But then I started replacing that with these values, with these numbers, and really like hyper focused, again, very much my personality, hyper focused on these numbers as my gauge. It was still keeping me disconnected from my body. It was not actually helping me identify what was really going on. Now, I had increased hunger signals, and that's really one of the great benefits of the hunger scale is if you're not able to identify like hunger in your body, it can be a great starting point. However, if it starts turning into a rule or there's any rigidity to it, that the values are determining whether you eat or not eat, then it's really being misused. Now, the second way is completely out of the realm of intuitive eating, but being used with intuitive eating in mind. There's a lot of, I'm seeing coaches, different practitioners, even registered dietitians and nutritionists who actually are using the hunger scale for weight loss. This is a complete misuse of the hunger scale. Intuitive eating, the premise of it is not focused on your weight. It's focused on this reconnection, on this self-care, on identifying what's going on in your body and beginning to trust that again. And ultimately, you being the guiding force of everything going on with your body, what you're consuming, what you're not, when you eat, how much you eat, all of that. So the idea of using this hunger scale for weight loss is really taking away from, again, you connecting with your body. It's going to be another rule to follow. It's going to be rigid. And again, it's misusing intuitive eating. I always say, when I get asked these questions, well, I saw someone talking about intuitive eating and weight loss. I'd go ask them, where were you certified? Where did you do your training for intuitive eating? Because if it was under Evelyn and Elise, who wrote the book on intuitive eating back in the 90s and who do the trainings, they were not trained under them. It really is a complete misuse, and it's not intuitive eating, like just being very clear. It's not intuitive eating if you're using the hunger scale, and of course I would even say, fullness scale, any of those terms, if you're using that with the goal being weight loss. So that would be like, of course, an extreme misuse of it. So the second thing I wanted to share with you about the hunger scale is how I actually use it in my practice. Now, I don't have any hard and fast rules about that. When I work with my clients one-on-one, it really is very personalized how we approach hunger, how we approach any hunger scale. When I do my group coaching, I really share both ways and let the clients start exploring what works best for them. Here's the key. I don't focus on the numbers. Again, it's a great starting point, and I do have clients who don't experience hunger in their body really at all because they've been ignoring it or they don't trust what they're feeling. So identifying a number is a kind of a good starting point, but can also feel like, I think that's a 3, but I really don't know because I'm used to living at a 7. I only know hunger when I'm like really, really hungry. So what I like to do instead is have them identify what they're feeling. So this really is tapping into what your body is experiencing. So my clients are identifying the sensation, the feeling in their body. And sometimes that's thoughts, sometimes it's in their mouth, saliva buildup. Sometimes it's in their throat, though I've really only had 2 clients ever in my entire time practicing that have noticed any hunger signals there. A lot of them, of course, are within the large area of digestion, right? They notice that in that stomach area, upper and lower. Maybe it's gurgling, grumbling, hollowness, achiness. Sometimes it's full on talking to them. But then I have them go a little bit deeper and have them identify what that feels like. So there's 3 terms I introduce, which are pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Now just think about those. I love these terms for like so many things in life. Like, how does it feel? So even that sensation that you're having in your body, does that feel like a pleasant one? Like, do you notice like, it's not really bothering me. Like I notice it, I feel it. Is it unpleasant? Like it hurts. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like how that feels. Or is it neither? It's kind of just neutral, like it's there, but I can't really identify anything else beyond that. This is something I utilize with my clients and find that they are able to start building trust in a better way than just identifying a number. And I have some clients where they still like having a number with it, or they are able to go from this place of identifying how they're feeling to attaching a number to that. Most of the time, the number becomes irrelevant. How they feel and what they're experiencing in their body is what is most important. When I tell women that you can't fail at intuitive eating, I think this is a great example. Again, when we turn anything from intuitive eating into a rule or something that's rigid or that feels like a pass fail, again, my misuse of the hunger scale was a pass fail. If I ever ate outside of the, correct numbers, I felt like I was failing. Again, it was a misuse. True intuitive eating has no pass fail. It's always a learning opportunity. And again, I think this is a great example of how that shows up. So like I said at the beginning, I wanted to give you something you could implement now. And I really want it to be something simple and easy for you. And if the hunger scale is that thing, if you're like, all right, I just want to rate my hunger from 0, I'm not hungry at all, to 10, like I'm probably going to like eat your face off. If that works for you, then I would say great. Start there. Start there as long as it doesn't come with a side of judgment when you eat outside of those numbers. But if you really want to step into something that I believe is more powerful, that I believe is more helpful, just start noticing what your body's telling you. If you're noticing hunger in your body, then just ask yourself, well, does that feel pleasant? Like, is that a good feeling? Like, usually that's a sign that I might want something to eat. Maybe not right this second, but coming up. Is it unpleasant? Ooh, maybe I went really long and I haven't eaten. I've been really busy. I hear that a lot from clients, when they have meeting after meeting and they're like, oh my gosh, it was just hours and then I finally got something to eat. It definitely was unpleasant, but I'm so glad I ate something. Or is it neutral? You're just not really sure. I think where this shows up a lot is with emotional eating or even boredom eating. Now, I want to make sure I'm so clear there's no judgment for eating when you're not hungry. There are so many reasons you might eat food, but this is a way to notice what's going on with your body. You might even notice, why am I so hungry today? Like I'm starting to pay attention to hunger and now I feel like I'm hungry all the time. You can get curious. Maybe I didn't eat a lot yesterday. Maybe it's been hours since I've eaten. Maybe I really just need more today. I had more physical activity. Your body's hunger can change from day to day. It is not this simple equation. It actually can be more complex. There's a lot of factors, your amount of sleep, the amount of, movement you might have, how much you ate the day before, what's going on with you, just in general, all can factor into how hungry you might feel or not feel that day. It's interesting how we get so judgmental if we're hungrier, but we don't seem to judge when we're not as hungry. Think about that for a minute. That might be a good place to go explore. Your body has a biological signal of hunger, and honoring that signal provides you with energy, focus, and honestly, it's a first step in making a lot of peace with your own body when it comes to food. All right, I hope these were helpful. I hope you find a way to honor your hunger, whether it's within the scale or these terms and identifying how you're feeling. Until next week. Hey ladies, I'm not sure if you've heard, but I've created a free private group for women. It's called Health Over Weight. It's on Facebook, and all you have to do is head into the show notes now, click Join Private Group, and you can be invited into this space where other women are working on positive body image. They're also working on the fundamentals of intuitive eating and just supporting one another. I go live each week. There's a different topic, and I want to invite you into this group. So if you are ready to dip your toe in, or you've been on this journey for a while and you're just looking for added support and encouragement, come join us in this free private Facebook group for women. See you there.